In modern society, we are bombarded by artificial light, which is full of blue light. So is blue light bad? Well, not necessarily. Take the sun, for example. That is full of blue light energy that we receive every day. It is still our most abundant form of blue light. So blue light in and of itself is not bad. It is the context in which we are exposed to it. So in this video, we're going to discuss that in further detail and go over 13 harmful effects of blue light in these negative contexts, but also solutions to reduce those effects and risks of those health consequences. Welcome back to the channel where we are dedicated to a healthier, happier you through a more natural, balanced, and holistic health approach. I'm Dr. Scott. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel if you haven't done that already. And without further ado, we will get into the 13 harmful effects of blue light. Number 1, digital eye strain. So there's a myriad of symptoms that fall under this particular diagnosis or condition known as digital eye strain. It's also known as computer vision syndrome. And when we are sitting in front of a static monitor that is bombarding us with high energy and high frequency wavelengths of light like blue light, our eyes are going to have this fatigue and a series of symptoms. So these next few ones that are going to fall under that category, it's a cluster of symptoms under digital eye strain. So number 1, digital eye strain. Harmful effect number 2, which is a symptom of digital eye strain, is eye fatigue. When we are looking at that computer screen, that phone for very long periods of time, it's a static image. There's not movement. There's not a depth of field like we have in actual reality. We just have that blank slate and a lot of high energy wavelength of light. Our eyes are going to get tired. They're going to have problems coordinating. They're going to want to look away, have problems focusing. Over time, your eyes can be more and more sensitive to this. Harmful effect number 3 is blurred vision. Again, a symptom of digital eye strain. Over time, and depending on your sensitivity and the amount of that blue light and the intensity of that blue light that's coming at you, you can actually begin to have blurred vision. Harmful effect number 4 is dry eyes or irritated eyes. If you've been in front of a computer long enough, that tends to be the larger culprit, because a computer screen, especially nowadays, big 4K screens, LED lights, so that's very high energy, just bathing you in a digital overload of blue light. That can cause a lot of irritation and dryness to your eyes. Your eyes can become bloodshot, your eyes can start to dry out, and a dry eye is certainly not a healthy eye. A healthy eye is a moist eye. Harmful effect number 5 is headache. We are just experiencing too much information, and it can really overload our senses and begin to give us the onset of a headache. A lot of people think that they aren't attributing their lighting situation or their monitor computer that they're in front of all day to headaches that they may be receiving. They may think it has nothing to do with lighting, or maybe they think it's an allergy or something else, but it's good to evaluate whether or not your lighting and the devices that you're constantly in front of are causing you headaches, if you are experiencing headaches throughout the day and you're exposed to these artificial sources of light. Harmful effect number 6 is neck and shoulder pain. So this is the last one that falls under the category of digital eye strain. These last ones are all symptoms of digital eye strain. So if you can imagine, if you're in front of this monitor, your eyes are fatiguing, they're not coordinating as well, they're dry, they're blurry, you're naturally going to squint more, you're going to be more tense, and so you start to develop this tension and muscle ache in your neck and shoulders. So number 6 harmful effect is neck and shoulder pain. Harmful effect number 7 is melatonin suppression. So as we said, in a natural context, blue light is very healthy when we get it from the sun. We always have to think, or I should say, it's very important to think about how we evolved as human beings, and because these are baked into our physiology. So we used to wake up to the sun, and at night the sun would go down and we would have no light aside from fire. And fire does not have much, or if any, blue light. So that's important to understand. But when the sun would set, you would have that period of darkness, and that absence of light would trigger your pineal gland to dump melatonin into your system. Melatonin is a hormone that regulates our circadian rhythms and our sleep. So when we don't have that absence of light and we're exposed to high intensity blue light all throughout the day, especially the night, we don't have that period of time where the body's like, oh, there's no light. Okay, send the melatonin into the system. So harmful effect number 7 is melatonin suppression. Harmful effect number 8 is disruption of your circadian rhythm. So without that melatonin, without having that period of darkness before bedtime where your pineal gland can dump melatonin into your system, that is suppressed now, and that affects your circadian rhythm. This is your biological clock. This is your body likes to have a rhythm, a certain time that it wakes up and it goes to bed. If you've noticed that if you keep a schedule and a time and you manage especially your light exposure at the end of the day, you will sleep infinitely better. It is quite amazing. If you have an erratic sleep schedule where you go from one to the next, you wake up at 5 in the morning one day, and then you wake up at 3 in the afternoon the other day, and you just kind of keep flip-flopping that schedule, you are going to sleep extremely poorly. Your body needs this type of routine and a rhythm that keeps going. So people who work swing shifts and night shifts and then try to readjust to the day, not only are they getting light and darkness at improper times, when they try to go back to the normal schedule of everybody else, they find that it's very difficult. And even if they are getting plenty of sleep, it's not very good sleep because of this melatonin suppression and an irregular circadian rhythm. Harmful effect number 9 is delayed sleep. So as a part of the melatonin suppression and circadian rhythm disruption, this is going to disrupt the ability for us to go to sleep when we want to. If we have that period of darkness before bedtime, we get the melatonin and we hit that pillow and it's like lights out, we're good to go. But if we don't have that, it takes a while for us to go to sleep. Sometimes we're counting sheep for who knows how long before we can actually fall asleep. Harmful effect number 10 is sleep disruption. So not only are we having problems falling asleep, but we'll wake up in the middle of the night multiple times. Melatonin is allowing us to just conk out and recharge our batteries, really be able to recuperate and get those deep levels of sleep where we're going into delta waves and those restorative levels of sleep. So without that melatonin to let our body do that and power down, we are waking up multiple times throughout the night and being interrupted. Harmful effect number 11 is reduced sleep duration. We are not sleeping as long. We will find ourselves, maybe we'll set our alarm, and if we don't have the proper amount of melatonin in our system, we'll often wake up way before our alarm goes off and we just cannot go to bed, and we find ourselves, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, there is no chance that we are getting back to sleep, and so we just kind of ride with it, and then we're just extremely tired throughout the day. Harmful effect number 12 is retina damage, and in particular, over time, you can increase your risk of macular degeneration. So in the middle of your retina, you have the macula, which allows you to focus and see those fine details of things. So over time, there is evidence that suggests that you are at higher risk of macular degeneration as you age. And finally, harmful effect number 13. This one is actually very alarming. I was kind of astounded by this, but there was a CNN article that states findings from a particular journal called the Environmental Health Perspectives. And in this study, it showed a 1.5 times greater incidence of breast cancer in women and 2 times the amount of prostate cancer in men. And the most different or bizarre part of this study was those statistics right there. That is just for environmental lighting in an outdoor situation. So walking the streets at night and being exposed to LED lights from a string of bulbs from a storefront, or just lights, regular street lights. That artificial light just walking around in the outdoor environment during the night is actually what attributed to these higher rates of cancers. Now, they also looked at indoor artificial lighting indoors. So it's important to keep in mind that we're not just getting blue light from computer screen monitors and our phones and tablets and TVs, but it's also from just our regular light bulbs that are in our fixtures around the home. So we're getting blue light from that too. And in this study, they actually showed that from indoor artificial light, it increased the rate of prostate cancer by 3-fold. All right, well, there you have it, 13 harmful effects of blue light. Now, if you kind of notice the trend here, there's really 2 things that are going on. One, blue light is very high intensity, energy visible light. It is a little bit overstimulating and can cause strain on the eye, can cause lack of coordination, fatigue, blurriness, irritation, dryness. So there's that aspect of it. And that can also lead to poorer vision, age-related macular degeneration. But the other part is all related to sleep as well. When we start ruining our sleep, we start to discover how important sleep is, and that really it's the sleep and a proper circadian rhythm and having your body in tune with when it wants to go to bed and when it wants to wake up. Without that, we find ourselves at higher risks for all sorts of diseases. If they took a look at this, they would probably find that you're at a higher risk of weight gain, you're at a higher risk of cancer, you're at a higher rate of all these different types of things. So sleep is super important, and blue light is if you are getting too high, intense doses of it, and too much right before bed, this is really killing your ability for your body to release that melatonin from your pineal gland into your system and to get those really deep restorative layers of sleep. Okay, so you're probably asking me, now you said we were going to talk about how we can reduce these risks. So let's go over some solutions to actually fix these problems, because we live in a totally different time. We are not going to get rid of our phones and tablets and computers anytime soon. They are just a part of modern life. We're going to have to adapt and evolve, but we're going to have to be smart, because you can't really override, thousands and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, millions of years of our slow evolution and how we respond physiologically to light. It's not going to happen overnight. So we have to really take the reins on this one. So the first principle or way that you can reduce the effect of blue light harmful effects is during the day when you are, or even during the night if you have to use your devices, you want to use the 20-20-20 principle. So people who work with computers in particular, this is very great, very good. You're at work, every 20 minutes, so 20-20-20, every 20 minutes you're going to look 20 feet away at an object, and you're going to stare at that, look at it for 20 seconds. So every 20 minutes, stare at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds. That's the 20-20-20 rule, and that was issued by the American Optometric Association to help alleviate digital eye strain. Just doing that is going to go a long ways to preventing these eye fatigue, blur vision, eye irritation, dryness, headache, neck and shoulder pain. Another thing, every 2 hours, it's a good idea to get up for 10-15 minutes and just move around. It's not only good for your vision and to have a different point of focus, but it's also good for your body. If you have like one of those little trampolines, you know, jump on that or take a little walk around. That's going to help your health all the way around. The next solution is decrease your screen time. Try to decrease the amount of time that you're in front of a digital screen and exposed to that blue light, especially at night. If you can reduce or eliminate the last 2 hours that you sleep, just completely remove as much high intensity light and device light as possible, you're going to sleep much better and you're going to wake up and have more energy, more clarity of thought the next day. So there are actually physical filters that you can use to block this blue light. So these are on Amazon, and other retailers may have them. Maybe Office Max or Home Depot or Office Depot has these. But what you do is it's just a film, a thin film that you put over your computer monitor or your tablet or your phone, and it's just going to block that blue wavelength of light. Now, of course, most people at this point have heard of the apps that filter out the blue light, and this has become such an essential and normal part of things that consumers want, that Apple and Samsung and all these other phone manufacturers now have it baked into their operating system already, the software that comes with your phone. So it's pretty easy to Google that and figure out how you can take your device and put it on night mode. Usually it's a night mode, and that will eliminate a lot of that blue light. So look, your phone will look a little bit more orange. You won't get that full spectrum because it's eliminating the blue light, but it's going to make you're going to sleep a lot better. Okay, so if you're going into the App Store, you can also do a third-party blue light blocker. And I mean, I use this one called Blue Light Filter Night Mode. I mean, all you really need to type into the Apple Store, Google Play Store is blue light filter or blue light blocker, and there's a lot of different things come up, and you can read through the reviews. I would just this blue light filter, it has a little icon with a blue background and a moon. Works really well, and that's just all that does is your screen will kind of be a little bit more of an orange as it extracts that blue light from the screen. Another solution that can reduce the amount of blue light that you get, especially from bedtime, is blue blocking glasses. These babies are very sexy, they're very attractive. You want to wear them out in public? Okay. Obviously not. These are kind of ridiculous. You probably don't want to wear them out in public unless you're just one of those eccentric people that don't care what people think. Then, like, good on you, cool for you. Most people do not want to face the fear of public shame and ridicule. So you may want to just buy a pair of these and wear them right before bed. So these are blue blocking glasses. These in particular are Uvex. They're super cheap. They're $8 or $9. They work amazing. They wrap around the eye, so you're not really getting too much blue light into the corners there. But I do a video where we kind of go into a few different types of glasses, some that are more fashionable, some that are a little bit higher end. But these, if you're looking for an all-around cheap pair of glasses that block blue light right before bedtime, these are fantastic. They're super cheap. They do the job. So I would highly recommend these. Next solution is anti-reflective lenses. So you can get glasses that have anti-reflection, and that is just going to allow the blue light to just bounce right off. Instead of like going through the lens and into your eyeballs, it's just going to bounce right off the lens. Another solution is thinking about the proximity of which you're viewing something. So this information comes from Dr. Alan Mendelsohn from myeyesurgeons.com. Optometric.com. Before I say that, let me just explain to you that any self-luminous electronic displays will emit a blue wavelength of light, tablets, phones, TVs, but even artificial light exposure can suppress your melatonin, your nocturnal melatonin, the melatonin that your brain is dumping into your system during the night. And so 1,000 lux is a unit of measurement as far as brightness is concerned. 1,000 lux at 1 hour will suppress your melatonin to daytime levels, the amount of the melatonin in your system during the day when you're just out in the middle of the sun, maybe you're sunbathing. So it's that dramatic of an effect, and it can really impact your sleep quality to a high degree. But even if you lower that intensity, let's say we lower that intensity of brightness from 1,000 lux to 500 lux, all we have to do is double that amount of exposure, and we still suppress that level of melatonin to daytime levels. So there's a combination of both the intensity of the light and the duration of exposure that you have. And so, as I was saying, with Dr. Alan Mendelsohn, he explains that if you have a tablet that you're viewing at 1 foot away, if you just change that proximity, if you change it from 1 foot to 2 feet away, you can still read it. You actually decrease the amount of blue light exposure by 1/4. So just moving from 1 foot to 2 foot and viewing it from there, you're actually decreasing your blue light exposure by 4-fold. So remember what I said about a moist eye is a healthy eye. And when we have digital eye strain and we're having dry, irritated eyes, maybe our eyes are even sore. So one of the most important things we can do to combat this is to simply put eye drops in and to keep that eye moist. We do not want it dry. We want to make sure that if it is strained, that if it is dry, that it is irritated, that we soothe it and comfort it, and we provide moisture that will allow it to stay healthy. Another solution is to incorporate red light. Now I'm going to link down in the description below a video that I've done on the health benefits of red light. You can get a red light emitting machine that is pretty powerful. It's higher intensity, but they're fairly expensive. So we don't have to necessarily use one of those. You can just buy a red light bulb online for very cheap, just for a few bucks, and you can put it in your bedroom. So the reason for this is, even if you're using these right before bedtime, if the last few moments before you go to bed, let's say you have all your bedroom lights on, just like for me in particular, I wear contacts, so I end up having to take these off and then I take my contacts out. But even that little bit of blue light exposure right before you go to bed, that can have an impact on your sleep. So how do we solve that? So one way that you can do that is to kind of the last few hours that you're about, like, be in the room with just red light. Have a red light bulb, and so you can still see things, but it's in the red wavelength of light, and that blue light isn't going to affect your melatonin suppression. So when I do take these off, or maybe I don't even need them as much in that environment, I can take out my contacts, or I can do whatever, and I'm not going to have that affect my melatonin and my sleep. Another solution, usually this typically just happens when things have gone too far, as you get age-related macular degeneration, and they actually have to have ocular implants. So you could have intraocular implants, and most of those by default have a blue light blocking mechanism to them. So that's important to know. If you have insurance, that could be something down the line. If you're an older person, you could have that as a solution. Probably not too feasible for most of us though. All right, well, there you have it. Those are some solutions to those 13 harmful effects of blue light. I hope that you found this informative and helpful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and let me know, do you think that I missed anything? Is there anything that you find particularly alarming or interesting? I found the cancer thing to be kind of blew my mind. But the takeaway here again is that it is the amount of blue light that you receive during the nighttime hours that is really causing the issue, and it's because of mainly the sleep issue. Yes, you can have a digital eye strain, but the real negative health consequences are coming from jacking up that circadian rhythm and not being able to have proper sleep. So share this with someone that you love, especially if they're having sleep issues. It more than likely is due to this exposure of blue light, and they may be particularly sensitive to this type of thing. With that said, make sure that you do download your free ebook, 10 Simple Health Hacks to Transform Your Body, Mind, and Soul. And I will bid you adieu. Thanks for watching. Take care and to your health. That said, I will check you out in the next video. I'll check you out.